Hello everyone. Welcome to Manage Engine Op Manager Plus's free training series. We are so glad to have you all here. Let me introduce myself. I'm Vishak and I've been working in Manage Engine for over 2 years now. I'll be the trainer for this season's Op Manager Plus free training. This is a 5-part free training series for Manage Engine Op Manager Plus. The first 3 parts focus on basic network monitoring and management, while the 4th and 5th parts explore IT operations management and full stack observability. Today, we'll talk about how Op Manager Plus helps you monitor your network and IT infrastructure. For those of you who are joining today, let me quickly explain the feature offerings and the differences between Op Manager Plus and Op Manager. Op Manager Plus is a unified full stack monitoring solution, and as such, you get all the features that are mentioned here by default with Op Manager Plus. Op Manager, on the other hand, is a network monitoring solution. You can enable the advanced features mentioned here as add-ons with Op Manager. Thus, depending on whether you require all the features mentioned here or just some of them, you can opt for either Op Manager Plus or Op Manager. In every other way, both products are the same. This training therefore applies to both of them. Without further wait, let's get into the second part, monitoring the network and IT infrastructure. Let's take a quick look at today's agenda. We'll start off by explaining how device and monitor templates work in Op Manager Plus. Then we'll move on to availability monitoring and performance monitoring, which are some monitoring features available for all devices that are discovered and monitored by Op Manager Plus. Then we'll move on to dedicated monitoring features such as server performance monitoring, network performance monitoring, virtualization monitoring, IT infrastructure monitoring, and so on. So let's get started quickly with. Before I get started, actually, let me quickly answer a question. What happens after discovery? So in the last part, we explained how you can use the various discovery mechanisms to add devices to Op Manager Plus. Now, I explained in the last part that Op Manager Plus uses the credentials that you provided to access information regarding from devices. So how does it do that? So there's a thing known as SysOID, known as System Object Identifier. So the SysOID is a unique identifier for a device that is used to classify and identify its model, product type, and manufacturer. Op Manager Plus uses the credentials to obtain the SysOID of the device, and then Op Manager Plus has a library of device templates. It will match the discovered SysOID with a SysOID from the library of device templates, and it will use the information provided from that device templates to autofill information for the device. So if the credentials that you provided doesn't work, or if you don't provide any credentials, then the devices will be listed as unknown in the inventory tab. If the credentials do work, the device details will be auto-filled from the device template library, and it will be updated in the inventory tab. Now, Op Manager Plus will also gather additional information from the device, and then auto-populate device information in a dedicated page for the device known as a snapshot page. This is known as a device snapshot page. And so if the details are not provided, the credentials are not provided, or if they don't work, then of course the device information will not be available inside its snapshot page. So let me explain each of these terminologies quickly before we start with the monitoring terminologies. First off, we have device templates. Device templates in Op Manager Plus is a library of device types where the category and vendor information are listed. So in device templates library, as you can see in the screenshot, there will be different device types listed along with the category they belong to, the number of devices those templates are associated with, and various actions you can perform. So Op Manager Plus has over 11,000 device templates in its library. So basically, most devices that you will discover from your network will be listed in the device template. The chances are they will be listed in the device template library. In case if they are not listed, or if you would like to create a custom template for your own requirements, you can just click on add template here and create custom templates. Then another thing is changes that you make in the device template options or the device templates will be applied to all the devices that are associated with. Let me quickly show this to you in the product. We have a live working version of the product with this webinar. 1 second. So go to settings, and under configuration, you have device template. Select that, and you will see the list of device template that I just showed you in the screenshot earlier. So as you can see, there's a lot of device templates. There's precisely 11,427 device templates in this list. Let me choose one. Let me just choose the first one here. So here is a device template for Windows 2016 servers. So you can see the basic information, the vendor name, the category, the icon that is used for this, and also some monitors. These are performance monitors, which I'll explain later. So the changes you make here will be applied to all 10 devices that this particular template has been associated with. So we can see the devices associated with this particular template right here. So this is how device templates work. As the name suggests, it's a template. So that is device templates. Right. Now we also talked about something known as the inventory and the device snapshot page. I already showed you the inventory in the last part, I think. Inventory is where after discovery, all your devices will land in the inventory. They'll all be shown up here. So basically, it's a repository of all the devices that you discover with Op Manager Plus. And on the left side of the inventory, you have a grouping feature, which allows you to filter out devices based on your convenience. So here, currently, these devices have been grouped by category. So category includes things like desktop, domain controllers, RAIDs, route servers, and so on. You can also group them by type, where you'll see all the different device types. So if I want to just see the Windows 2016 servers, all I got to do is click on that and I'll see all of them. Similarly, I can group them by vendor, business view. This is a type of mapping which I'll explain later in the free training series. Groups, protocol, severity, apps, etc. So this is the inventory page. Now, in the inventory page, there will be devices listed, right? You can click on any device and it will take you to the device snapshot page. So this is a device snapshot page, which is also a repository of all the information that Op Manager Plus has on the device. So anything related to monitoring for this device, you can go to monitors here. You can see all the applications listed, install software, active processes, virtual details, interface. So depending on the type of device, this is a virtual server. That's why virtual details are shown here. And since it's a server, you have processes listed here and so on. So depending on the type of device, the device snapshot page will be different. But one thing that will remain the same is it will be the repository of all the information you have about that device. So this is a device snapshot page. Let me quickly go back to the presentation. There's another thing known as monitor templates. Now, monitor templates are just like device templates, but they are for individual monitors. So as you will see in this part of the free training series, Op Manager Plus is able to monitor a lot of things. So these are just some of them, including performance monitors, processes, services, files, folders, and so on. So a monitor template is a template for any one of these monitors. So for instance, as you can see in the screenshot, CPU utilization is a monitor template given here. So this particular monitor is used for 18 devices. So for 18 devices, we use this monitor to track the CPU utilization. So if you change anything in this template, that will be applied to all those 18 devices. So monitor templates are a way to make bulk changes across, not just across the same monitor that's been used to get information from devices. So again, monitor templates can be found under settings, under monitoring settings. So these are all different monitor templates. And in this part of the free training, we will be explaining each of this. So quickly, I'm just giving you an introduction to the various terminologies that we'll run into in this part of the free training. Now that that's done, we can move on and we can start with the various monitoring features in Op Manager Plus. And we'll start with availability monitoring. So availability monitoring is available for all devices and interfaces in Op Manager Plus. And unlike other monitoring mechanisms, I told you that you need credentials to access device information. But availability monitoring in Op Manager Plus Op Manager Plus uses ICMP protocol to ping the availability of a device. So that means that you don't necessarily need device credentials. Even if you don't provide credentials, you can monitor the availability of a device. It will simply be shown as an IP address instead of the additional device information that will be provided. However, as always, it's recommended to add credentials because then you'll be given additional context. So monitoring the health status can be done using ICMP, TCP, and SNMP protocols. If in your network ICMP is blocked by any chance, you can use TCP and SNMP as required. Also with Op Manager Plus, you can define the polling interval according to the criticality of the device. So let me go show you how this works in the UI. So let me choose any device. Let's see, in inventory, I'm going to choose this device. It's a desktop. So as you can see, you get the availability information right here, the availability timeline, the percentage availability of this device, the packet loss and response time. Now you might be wondering why Op Manager Plus also monitors the packet loss and response time of devices. So sometimes a device might be available, but the quality of that availability connection will be very low. The packet loss will be high and the response time will also be high. So Op Manager Plus monitors all three metrics to ensure that you can monitor not just the availability, but also the quality of the connection. So this is how that works. Now, let's say you want to change the availability monitoring interval of this particular device, or let's say you want to change the protocol with which availability is monitored. Because I mentioned that Op Manager Plus uses ICMP to monitor availability at a particular preset interval. So let's say the preset interval is default interval is 5 minutes, which means that every 5 minutes, Op Manager Plus will ping the device with ICMP and will see if it's up or down. If it's up, it will register it as up. That's the green color here. Or if it's down, it will be registered as red. So in the screenshot, you can see this particular device is not available all the time. It has been like unavailable most of its timeline given here. That's why the availability percentage is shown as 9%, and packet loss is very high, 92%. And yeah, response time is also close to 1 second, so very high. So this is how availability monitoring works. Let's say you want to change it. So let's say you want to change it from ICMP to SNMP or TCP, and you also want to change the monitoring interval. You can do that here, and sandwich icon on the top right corner. Select that, and you'll have the option called Edit Device Details. Click on that, and you'll see all this information regarding this particular device. So you can change the availability monitoring interval. This is given as 30 minutes right now. Let's say this device is more critical and I want to change it to 10 minutes. So I can change it right here. This will be monitored every 10 minutes from now. And you can change the monitor, the protocol with which the availability is monitored. So we have ICMP, TCP, and SNMP. So I want to monitor this with SNMP. So I choose that as the option. Or if I want TCP, I can choose that as the option. I also have the option to whether poll this device using the IP address or the DNS name. So currently the option is IP address. This means that Op Manager Plus will reach the device using TCP via the IP address. But if I choose DNS, it will be monitoring it using DNS. So once I do all this, I can just click on save. So again, if it's for TCP, I have to specify the port number. I don't have it with me right now. So let me just choose ICMP here and click on save. So this particular device, the changes that I made to this particular device will apply only for this particular device. Now let's say I want to change the availability monitoring interval for a group of devices. So all the Windows 2016 servers in my network is important, and I want to monitor them every 5 minutes. That's the deal that I want to do. So how can I do that? Do I go to every single Windows 2016 device in my inventory and change it just like how I established, just like how I showed you right now? Do I just go to this particular device and change it with the sandwich icon right here? I can't do that, right? That will take a lot of time. Instead, I can go to settings. I can go to the device template that I mentioned earlier, device templates. I can choose the Windows 2016 device template. And here I'll be able to change the availability monitoring interval. So here, if I change the availability monitoring interval, this will be applied for all the devices with which this particular template has been associated with. So once I click save and associate, I can even choose what device I want to apply this to. And once I do that, it will be applied in bulk to all those devices. So this is how you do availability monitoring changes in bulk using the device templates. So that's all we have to talk about availability monitoring. Let's talk about performance monitoring. Performance monitoring is another feature that is also available for all kinds of devices and device types, device vendors, and everything in Op Manager Plus. So performance monitoring basically refers to any kind of metric or monitor that indicates the performance of a device. It could be CPU, it could be traffic, it could be memory, and so on. And you might be wondering, so what kind of performance monitors are available for the different devices that you want to monitor? So that all depends on the type of device that you want to monitor. For instance, if you want to monitor a server, the performance monitors that you would probably want to keep your eye on is probably CPU and memory, disk, network usage, and so on. If it's a virtual server, if it's a Sun VM, you might want to keep track of the partition, or if it's like a VMware server, you might want to keep track of the CPU ready, and so on. So performance monitors varies based on the types, the vendor, and the kind of devices. So based on all this, there will be a different set of performance monitors. Let me just quickly show this to you in the UI. Let's see, I'll show you a router first. So this is a router. Performance monitors can be found inside the device snapshot page under monitors up top. Select that, and you'll see a list of monitors. Script monitors and performance monitors are available for this router. And performance monitors, there's 25 performance monitors that are auto associated here. Now, these monitors will be here the moment you discover your router and you provide the credentials, these will be auto listed here. How is that possible? This is possible because the device templates already have these performance monitors auto configured. So all you got to do once you come here is to enable it. So once you enable it, you will be asked to provide thresholds. These are how alerts are generated. I will explain this later in detail in the third part of the free training series. So stay tuned for that. Anyways, you can enable all the monitors here, right here. So as you can see, for this router, you have performance monitors like buffer create failures, temperature, memory, medium buffer hits, and so on. These are router specific performance monitors. But this will change if you're looking for, say, a server. In case of a server, the performance monitors that are listed will be completely different. Again, in the snapshot page of the server, go to monitors and you'll see the different kind of performance monitors available for this particular server. You also see a list of other monitors. We'll explain this later in this part of the free training series. Again, you'll see performance monitors like disk IO usage, swap memory, CPU ready, and so on, because this is a VM. So all these, the performance monitors will vary based on the kind of device, the type of device, and the vendor of the device that you're monitoring. So that's how performance monitors work in Op Manager Plus. Let's move on to the next part. So before I move on to the next part, let me just tell you a general rule of thumb that will be useful for you when you're monitoring your network with Op Manager Plus. So let's say you want to make a change to a group of devices. So if you want to make a change to a group of devices, you can do that under device templates or monitoring templates. Anyways, that's what they are for. But if you want to make changes to individual devices, you can do that in the snapshot page of the respective devices. I already showed you this particular rule of thumb when it comes to availability monitoring, right? When I wanted to change the availability monitoring interval for a single device, I went into the device snapshot page of that device and then I changed it there using the sandwich icon on the top right corner. However, when I wanted to do it for a group of devices, I did it in the device template page. The same also applies for performance monitors. I showed you how performance monitors can be accessed from a device inside inventory, inside a device snapshot page, didn't I? You can also find performance monitoring templates under settings, under monitoring settings, where the first option is performance monitors. Here, you can see a list of all the performance monitors available in Op Manager Plus. So here, let's say we have a performance monitor called CPU utilization, which is used to monitor the CPU usage of a particular vCPU or virtual CPU. See, it uses the protocol VI Web Service, and it's for the VMware VMs. Similarly, you can find all sorts of performance monitors used across all sorts of vendors, all sorts of devices using various protocols here under performance monitor library. And you'll also be able to see the number of associated devices for each monitor. So again, if you want to change performance monitors, let's say in case of performance monitors, you can change things like the alert thresholds, which I showed you earlier. So if you change it here, this change will be applied across all the devices where this particular monitor is used. So let's take the sys uptime. Sys uptime is a very simple monitor. It's the time since the network management portion of the system was last reinitialized. It's using SNMP and it's associated with 11 devices. These are the 11 devices that uses this particular performance monitor. Again, if I change something regarding this, let me choose that 1 second. Yeah, if I change something regarding this, let's say I change the interval at which this particular sys uptime monitor is being monitored. I'm changing it to 30 minutes, right? And if I click on OK, successfully updated. So this will be updated for all these 11 devices. That's how this monitor templates work. So the general rule of thumb is if you want to change things in bulk, you can do it under here, monitoring settings, or with device templates, certain things, again, the device templates. Or if you want to change things for a single device, individual devices, do that under inventory, where you will be able to narrow down the device using the filter options provided here and then change it inside the snapshot page. So that is the general rule of thumb when it comes to monitoring with Op Manager Plus. So let's move on. And we'll start off with the individual monitoring features now with server monitoring. So let's look at some dedicated server monitoring features in Op Manager Plus. So for Op Manager Plus, you can monitor an extensive list of server types. You can monitor Windows servers, Linux servers, Solaris, HP UX, IBM AX, and so on. You can monitor various performance metrics that I already showed you now. You can monitor some server-specific monitors like processor services, Windows services, and so on. This I will explain soon. And you can also monitor hardware metrics like temperature, voltage, cooling fan status, and so on. Hardware I will explain at the very end of this free training series. First, let's look at the various server-specific monitors that we can see here. We'll start off with process monitoring. So you might have a lot of crucial devices in your network that run critical processes. So monitoring them to see how much CPU this processor utilize, whether they are up and running, whether they're available, and if they're overusing your resources, or if some critical processes are under not getting enough resources. Such visibility is very important. Op Manager Plus helps you monitor the active processes running on any monitor device. Then you can fetch their status and track their CPU and memory utilization. You can also assign thresholds for, let's say, you want to. So threshold is basically a value. If the monitor metrics crosses that value, Op Manager Plus will generate an alarm. That's how simple words it works. I'll explain this in detail in the third part. Anyways, what you can do is you can set thresholds for monitored metrics like CPU and memory. So what means that if a particular process is using more than what you want it to use, then the threshold will be violated and you'll get an alarm. So let me show you how process monitors work. We'll do it in bulk right now. We'll go to settings. Under monitoring settings, you have processes right here. Select that and you will be shown a list of process templates that are already existing for this particular installation of Op Manager Plus. If you want to change anything in these process templates, let's say I want to change the process template for HTTP-PD. So choose that and you'll be able to change the various things. Let's say I already explained how the thresholds work. Let me give you a practical example. Let me see. So this particular process, I don't want this process to use more than 75% of the CPU utilization. Okay, this is just an example. So the unit is percent, so I don't have to provide percent here. The unit is percent. So if this particular process use more than 75% of the CPU, how many times? I can also configure how many number of times this particular threshold has to be violated for an alarm to be generated. So you might not want to do it. You might not want to receive an alarm if it's just a single anomaly, just a single spike in the CPU where it crosses 75%. That might not be important. But if it happens continuously, then you'd want to be alerted, right? So I'm going to choose 5 here. So what this means is that if the CPU used by this particular process crosses 75% 5 consecutive times, then an alarm will be generated. So you can also alter the condition here. You might, if you want to get alerted at a particular CPU utilization, you can use equal, or you can use less than or equal to, and so on. Anyways, the same with memory. You can just set up here. I want to get alerted if it crosses 80%. You also have other units like bytes, KB, MB, GB, and so on. And again, here I'm choosing 5. And once I click save, sorry, the rearm function. I forgot to mention the rearm function. What the rearm function does is that if the value that crossed the threshold returns below the rearm value, the alarm will be reset. It, as the name suggests, it rearms the alarm so that it can strike again. So I'm going to put the rearm at 70%, and here I'm going to put the rearm at 75%. So what this means is that once the CPU goes below 70, after 5 consecutive times it was violated, the alarm will be reset. So once I click save, this process template has been updated successfully. See, and this particular template has not been associated with any device. You can associate here, save and associate. While you are saving itself, you can associate it to a set of devices. Like 1 second, the associate menu will come right up, and you'll be able to associate with the set of devices right here, or you can do it here. Associate your process monitors with a variety of devices. Setup, but here under process monitors, you'll be able to see the various processes that are being monitored. See, so you'll be able to see various processes like Postgres, services.exe, SMSs.exe, and so on. And you'll be able to see the CPU they utilize and the memory they utilize, as well as the count, the exact unit of memory that they utilize, percentage and the unit. Anyways, this is how process monitoring works in Op Manager Plus. Let me move on. The service monitoring. Op Manager Plus can monitor 2 kinds of services. There's the Windows services. So Windows services and TCP services. The main differences between the Windows services and TCP service monitor is that in Windows service monitor, the Windows service monitor runs directly on the Windows server and checks if a particular service is up or down, and if it's down, it will alert you accordingly. Whereas the TCP service monitor, Op Manager Plus checks whether a TCP service available in a particular port. So it will check if the port is available in the case of TCP service monitoring. And when it comes to Windows service monitoring, it will go inside the Windows device and see whether the service is up and down. So there are different monitoring templates and monitors available for Windows services and TCP services. Let me show that to you in the UI. So you go to settings, Under monitoring settings, you have Windows services. These are the template library for all the Windows service monitors available in a particular device. This particular installation. So you have a template for DNS client service monitoring. You have different, let's take a look at, let's see the DNS server. This is a very important Windows service. So again, you'll be able to see the service name, and here you can configure whether to generate alarms if they are unavailable for any number of polls. So here the option is 1. So it's a very critical service. So if it's not available for at least one poll, even one poll, we will generate an alarm for it. And what else can you do? You can also do an action if the service is unavailable. You can restart the service. You can restart the server entirely, or you can just do a no action. So this is how it works. Click on save, and the service will be modified and will be applied across the associated devices. So these are all the different templates available, the Windows Service Monitoring templates available. And you can associate them using the associate button right here. Like I explained in the case of process monitoring, you can just associate device by selecting them in bulk, and clicking the arrow and clicking save. So that's how you apply service monitors. Now, what if you want to add a template for Windows Service Monitors? Again, it's the same as process. Click on add, choose the device from which you want to obtain your Windows Service Monitors, and click next. See, once you click next, all the various Windows Service Monitors running inside the device will be shown to you right here. So let's say I want to create a Windows Service Monitor for this particular service, Windows License Manager service. Just click on save and associate. Here you have to configure the number of times if the service is unavailable that Op Manager Plus has to generate alarms. So I want Op Manager Plus to generate alarms if the service is unavailable, like 7 times. And what should Op Manager Plus do if the service is unavailable? I want it to do nothing. And let me click on save and associate. And this particular Windows service, then you will be able to associate them. I'm going to associate it to this particular device, and I'm clicking save. So this is the Windows service template that we created, and it's associated with this one device, and all the details that we configured are inside this template. So this is how you monitor Windows services. If you want to do it individually for a particular device, go to inventory, find your device, go to the inside a device snapshot page, go to monitors. You'll be able to find Windows Service Monitors right here. So these are all the Windows Service Monitors that we are monitoring for this particular device. You'll be able to see their status. If they go down, you'll receive an alert, like this particular fax service is not available. So it will generate an alert. All the alerts, by the way, you can see here under the alert section of the device snapshot page. So this is how Windows Service Monitoring works. We also explained about TCP service, right? TCP services monitors, the templates for TCP service monitors can also be found under monitoring settings under, let me see, service monitors here. So once you click on service monitors, you'll be able to see all the different templates for TCP service monitors. In case of TCP service, we already explained that Op Manager Plus monitors it by checking the availability of a port. So you need to configure things like, let me click on a particular TCP service monitor. Okay, actually you have to click on the edit icon right here. Click on the edit icon, and you'll be able to edit the service name, the port number with which service has to be checked, the timeout, how long should it be checked by Op Manager Plus, and again, when should it raise an alarm, if it's down for 1 poll, 2 polls, the number of consecutive times. You can configure all that here. You also have an option called scan during discovery. What this does is that if you enable this option, whenever Op Manager Plus will discover devices in the future, it will check whether this particular service is available at this particular port. It will check for this long, and if it's available, it will add it to this. It will add it to this particular service monitoring template. So again, you have the save and associate option right here to save it and associate it to a set of devices. You can also associate it from this associated button on the top right corner. So that's how TCP service monitoring works. You can find the TCP service monitors for your devices in the snapshot page inside monitors here. Service monitors. These are all the service monitors that are monitored for this particular device. So that's how TCP service monitoring works. Now we'll explain file and folder monitoring. So Op Manager Plus can monitor the files and folders inside your server devices and monitor things like file and folder existence, whether they're shared. You can monitor shared folders. You can monitor the size, count, and the age of the files that are monitored. You can even configure threshold for the size of file and folders. So let's say you have some critical files inside your servers, which has to be there. If anything happens to those files, you need to be alerted. You can set up a file and folder monitor for that. Let me show you how you can do this in the UI itself. So far, we've been talking about how you can do everything from the monitoring settings using the monitor templates, right? So there are monitor templates for files and folders as well. But for this one, let us just go down to an individual device and see how we can add it individually. So go to inventory, find your device, and go to monitors. And yeah, you'll have file and folder monitors listed here, file monitors and folder monitors. See, let's say I want to add a file monitor. So there's already a file monitor template right here. So what you got to do is click on action. So for any monitors in the snapshot page, if you want to add it from here, all you got to do is choose the actions button. So in the actions button, you will be able to see options like this. So click on add monitor and you'll be given a tab to add a particular file monitor, which will only apply to this individual device. So you will be asked to provide a name for this file monitor. So I just want to give it a very basic name. So you'll be asked to specify the path of the particular file. So this is for Op Manager Plus to find the file. It will use this path to find the file. So let me just give a very basic file path. This is for an example. This is not an actual file path. And see, as you can see, while I'm specifying the file path, I'll also have to specify each of the folders within which to find the file, right? And once you provide the file path, you can just click on test monitor. Op Manager Plus will check if this particular file is available. So let's just click on test monitor. Permission is denied for this particular device. I think there's something wrong with the credentials. We'll fix that as soon as we can. Anyways, it will be able to check whether this file is available in this file path. And then you'll be able to monitor, change the polling interval with. So again, let's just keep it at 15. You'll be able to monitor various things like whether the file contains a particular search string, and if the string is there, if the condition is matched, how many times that can be configured here. You can even select match case. Then if this particular search string is there, what kind of alert should it be generating? So these are 3 alert levels in Op Manager Plus. Attention, trouble, and critical. As the name suggests, each are like, this is the least severity alarm, this is medium severity, and this is the most severity for an alarm. We'll explain this in the third part of the free training series. Anyways, you can also customize the message format for the alarm. So then you can also monitor file existence, whether the file exists or not. So whether Op Manager Plus should alert you for the file existing or the file not existing. And again, the configurator times and the message format can be customized here. The size of the file. Here you can set thresholds. If the size of the file exceeds a particular number of bytes, an alarm would be generated. File age. Again, you can set thresholds. If the file age exceeds a certain number of minutes, hours, or days. File modification, whether the file is modified or not. So based on this, you'll be able to configure your file monitor. And if you want to save this particular file monitor that you've created as a template, you can choose this option and it will be saved as a template under monitoring settings under files. Anyways, once you click on save, this particular file monitor will be applied to this particular device. So this is another file monitor. So you can see graphs for this monitor. Like I have been monitoring the age and size of this file. So the age has been the same, and yeah, file size. Anyways, so this is how you monitor the files. Now let me also show you for folders. Again, with folders, it's mostly the same. You have to provide a name and a path to the folder. If you want to monitor the subfolders, you also have this option right here. If you uncheck it, that will be gone. The polling interval, the protocol, you can monitor things like folder existence, whether the folder exists or not, folder size with thresholds, folder modification, whether it's modified. And you can, with the folder monitor, you can also monitor the files inside, but we already covered this. So this is how you monitor folders. You can find the file and folder monitoring templates under monitoring settings right here. So that's file and folder monitoring in Op Manager Plus. Now we have something known as script templates. Script monitoring is something that will be useful when you want to monitor a specific metric that is not supported by your standard SNMP or WMI protocols. You can write your own scripts in any of the supported languages such as Python, VB, Perl, etc. And these scripts can be directly imported into Op Manager Plus and be executed to get results. So you can execute scripts from the local server as well as from remote machines. And the only requirement is that the output of these scripts should be in a predefined format. For instance, the instance and its respective value followed by the next instance and its value and so on. You can always contact our support for further assistance regarding the script templates. So let's say you want to monitor the expiry dates of SSL certificates on your servers. That cannot be done using SNMP or WMI protocols. For such cases, just a basic understanding of simple languages can help. You can use scripts to monitor them. So go to settings. Again, we are in settings. Under monitoring settings, you have the template for script templates right here. Choose script templates and you will see the existing templates and the devices they are associated with. So here is the example that we mentioned, the SSL certificate expiry reminder. So this will get you the number of remaining days for a website SSL certificate to expire. Select that. And yeah, these are the these are the details of the script. So the script will have, so there's the usual monitoring details, the name of the template, the description that we just saw, the interval at which it should be monitored, the units, and a data type. After that, you have to provide script details. Here is where you have to enter the script. You have a command line and you have a script body. You also have a timeout for the script. How long should it Op Manager Plus check? And whether to execute it from the local server or from a monitored machine. So you can execute a script from the server in which you installed your Op Manager Plus installation, or you can execute it from the monitored machine itself. You can also select the execution directory right here. And if you want, you can set up thresholds based on the output of the script. So this all depends on the output of the script and the unit with which the output is generated. So that's how that is done. To create a script template, click on add. You can add all the details that we just saw. To associate script templates, click on associate, choose the template and choose the devices, save. That's how it works. To create script templates and edit script templates for individual devices, again, just the same. Go to the device, go to the snapshot page, choose monitors, choose script monitors, which will be here, script monitors. See, there's already a script monitor here. Click on actions, click on add monitor. That's how you add script templates for this individual device. Let's go back. We'll now talk about event log monitoring. So Op Manager Plus can monitor event logs received from your devices to alert you of events that occur across your network. So you will need to configure things like a unique event log ID. So let me show you how this works. We're inside the snapshot page of this device. Let's say I want to add an event log monitor. Click on event log monitoring. These are the existing event log monitors. Click on actions, click on associate monitor. This is a list of the various event log monitors available in Op Manager Plus. Choose your event log monitor. Click associate. It will be shown here. See, this is how you add an event log monitor from an existing list of templates. You can find the existing list of templates under settings, under monitoring settings, event log rules. Select that. So these are the existing templates that we just saw from inside a device. If you want to add a new one, click on add, and you'll be able to specify. You'll be asked to specify details like this is a rule name, which is just to identify the rule. You'll be asked to give the unique event ID for the event log. You'll be asked to specify the source, which is the name of the software that logs the event. Then you'll be asked to specify the category of the corresponding event log. Example, it could be data write error, data write error, date read error, and so on. So this is the category to which the event log belongs to. You can also specify the user who was logged in for the event log when the event log occurred. Then you can match text with the description and so on. Then after that, you can specify the type of event, whether it's an error, whether it's a warning, whether it's informational, or whether it's critical, so on. So you can choose multiple options if needed as well. And again, you can choose the consecutive number of times for this thing to happen for an alarm to be generated. And yeah, whether the severity of the alarm, critical, trouble, attention, or clear. You can also ignore the event if you want to. So anyways, this is how you add an event log template. You can associate it from here. So that's how event log monitoring works. Now let's look at the URL monitoring feature in Op Manager Plus. You can use Op Manager Plus to check the reachability of a particular URL from your server devices. You can see this under settings. You can see all the URL monitoring templates under settings right here. Or if you want to check it, add a URL monitor for a particular device alone, go to device snapshot page, go to monitors, go to URL monitors. You can see the existing URL monitor. Under actions, click add monitor, and you'll be able to specify the name of the URL monitor, the URL itself, whether it should be a get action or a post action, and other general properties like the monitoring interval, timeout, whether when to raise the alarm. You can also search and match content inside the URL. So this is the options available. You can also provide URL authorization details if you want. This is how URL monitoring works in Op Manager Plus. With this, we are done with server performance monitoring. Now let's take a look at Op Manager Plus's network monitoring features. So when it comes to the network, you can do a lot of things with Op Manager Plus. You can monitor a variety of network devices like routers, switches, firewalls, printers, WLCs and access points, UPS devices, load balancers, and so on. And for each of these type of network devices, you can monitor dedicated performance metrics like CPU, memory, network usage, buffer, etc. We already saw performance metrics for a network device. We saw it for a router in our example. Similarly, for each kind of network device, you will be able to see different types of performance monitors that are applicable for this type of device. Then you will also be able to monitor network performance metrics like interface. You can monitor interfaces. You can monitor the VoIP and WAN using Cisco IPSLA. You can monitor network paths on a hop by hop basis. You can also monitor wireless performance. We'll see this in detail soon in the coming parts. We can also monitor hardware metrics like temperature, voltage, cooling fan status, and power supply. Like I mentioned, I'll cover hardware metrics at the end of this particular free training series. So let's see. Let's look at the various network performance metrics because we already saw the performance monitors. Now we're going to take a look at the various network performance metrics. We'll start off with interface monitoring. So again, like I mentioned, we discussed how you can add interfaces to Op Manager Plus earlier in the first part of the free training series. We told you how you can set up rules to add only certain interfaces into your monitoring console. Now let's see how we can monitor those interfaces. So go to your network and choose a network device right now. So these are also additional filtering options you have available. If you want to just see your network devices, you can go to network. If you want to just see your servers, you can choose servers and so on. So I'm going to choose network. I'm going to choose routers, and I'll see all the routers in my monitoring installation. I'm going to choose one particular router, and interfaces can be found out in the device snapshot page here. Interfaces. See, choose that, and you'll be getting a list of all the interfaces that are discovered for this particular device. So let me choose an interface. I'm going to choose this thing. So yeah, you go to an interface snapshot page now. In the interface snapshot page, you'll be able to see all the details about the interface. You will see the monitors available for, so we are monitoring the received traffic, the transmitted traffic, errors, discards, utilization, and so on. So you'll get the last, when it was last polled, the interview, the last polled value, and so on. You also get this thing, interface graphs, where Op Manager Plus will generate graphs based on the data that it was just polling. So here is a graph for received and transmitted and total bytes. Here you have traffic graphs. Here you have utilization. It's like the 0 right here. Errors, there hasn't been much errors. Packets and so on. So if you have graphs for discard rate, packets, everything. Anyways, if you also enable the NetFlow Analyzer module of Op Manager Plus, we told you how you can export flows into the NetFlow Analyzer module of Op Manager Plus in the last part of the free training series. If you have done that, you'll also be getting interface traffic details, which includes application data and so on. This seems to be not filled up right now. Anyways, if you enable that, you'll get all that data right here. So this is an interface summary page. You can find interfaces inside your devices. So for instance, inside this router, or if you want, you can find them in the inventory itself. In the inventory at the top part, there is like an option to filter out the devices, applications, interfaces, subnets, and business views. So if I choose interfaces, I'll see just the interfaces alone right here. This is how you can monitor interfaces in Op Manager Plus. So now we have monitoring the WAN and VoIP. So wide area network monitoring and voice over IP monitoring in OpManage Plus. So this will come in handy if you say you're working in a distributed network environment where you have multiple development centers connected to your headquarters. Sometimes in such cases, you may face latency issues when you perform a data transfer between headquarters and a development center. Or say, when you try to make a VoIP voice call, the call can sometimes get dropped due to huge packet loss. So you can use Op Manager Plus's IP SLA monitoring feature and monitor the WAN RTT and VoIP of your network using Op Manager Plus. So this will allow you to quickly identify bottlenecks and take corrective measures to fix them. So Op Manager Plus leverages Cisco IP SLA to synthesize VoIP and WAN traffic. So the VoIP and WAN traffic is synthesized between routers using Cisco IP SLA. So then once the traffic is synthesized, Op Manager Plus will monitor metrics like VoIP metrics like latency, jitter, mean opinion score, or WAN metrics like round trip time and so on. So since the traffic is synthesized and it's not real traffic, you'll be able to detect issues proactively. Even before the actual user traffic is affected, you'll be able to detect it. So let me show you how you can access this. Under network, you will have the option called IPSLA. Here you'll be able to see your VoIP metrics. There's not much data available. Let me go to another setup here. Sure. Under network, you have, so this is a different version. That's why the options are different. Again, you'll be able to find it under WAN monitoring IPSLA. Choose that, and you'll be seeing the existing the VoIP monitors. So to create a VoIP monitor, click on Add VoIP Monitor, and you will be asked to specify the name of the monitor, the source device. So SNMP Right Community is mandatory for this. You can choose your routers from the source device. You can choose the interface from which this has to be. So once you configure the source device, interface will be auto-populated. The port, the destination IP, the destination device with which the traffic has to be simulated, the display name, VRF name is optional, and also the pole interval. Once you do that, you will be adding a new VoIP monitor. So all the metrics will be different metrics like mean opinion score, round trip time, jitter, latency will all be monitored and filled here. Same for WAN monitor. Again, all the for WAN, the metrics that are monitored include max round trip time, average round trip time, minimum round trip time, violations, etc. So if your particular WAN path has a problem and your SLA is being violated, you can set up rules, metrics for thresholds for this, and you'll get alerted for violations. You can do that under settings. Under monitoring settings, you have IPSLA. Here you'll be able to manage the VoIP call settings, the VoIP threshold templates. This is a template for setting thresholds for VoIP monitors. So you'll be able to set the upper limit and lower limit of the various metrics that are measured using VoIP, including mean opinion score, jitter, latency, packet loss, round trip time, availability, etc. The same also applies for WAN. You'll be able to specify the round trip time and availability, upper limit and lower limit thresholds. So this is how VoIP and WAN monitoring works in Op Manager Plus, monitoring the WAN and VoIP. After that, we have network path analysis. So network path analysis is a feature. So it's often difficult to narrow down the source of a network issue given the number of components that are involved. For instance, let's take this webinar. This webinar goes from my device to the data centers in which Zoho webinar app is hosted, and from there it's transmitted to your device, right? Multiple network paths are involved in this particular operation. Let's say you guys face an audio issue. I hope you're not facing an audio issue, but hypothetically, let's say you're facing an audio issue. How can we narrow down the root cause of that issue? Op Manager Plus's network path analysis feature does just that. You can monitor network paths from any source to any destination and track each hop of that journey. That way, you can track the exact node that is causing you trouble. So you can find network path analysis under settings. Under monitoring settings, you have network path analysis. Select that and you'll be able to see the network path. So bad news, these two network paths are in critical condition. Let's check what's up with them. Choose that and you'll be able to see basically a map of the network path. You'll be seeing each hop of the journey. And you'll be seeing data like latency and packet loss for each part of the journey. So you can change the date here. So whether you want to see it for a particular time frame, you can change it here. Then you also have an availability timeline. So for this, at this particular time, when like this is the whole day, I guess, 7:52, yeah, 3rd February at 8:02 a.m. IST to like, let's see, 4th February, 7:52. So almost like one day, right? So in this whole day, when was the latency the highest? So we saw a spike in latency around here and here and so on. So based on the thresholds you set, the color will be coded accordingly. So this is how network path analysis works. The profile looks like. You'll be able to narrow down the exact time in which the particular problems occurred and also the exact node in which the particular problem occurred. So I want to choose this option right here. So when I choose this, the network path profile of that time will show up. If I choose this spike, the network path profile of that time will show up. So for each part of the day, I'll be able to see the network path and note down which node caused the issue. So let me show this to you in another setup that we have under settings. Let's choose network path analysis. Again, the same Google DNS network path. So yeah, I want to see the network path when this particular spike occurred. So yeah, so I'll be able to see the various nodes, the hops involved in this particular journey. From the local host, it went out to these many hops. There are multiple paths involved until it reached this destination. So the main cause of the high packet loss, the high latency in this particular network, this particular moment of the day was because of the destination only. It was not any of the intermediary hops. So we'll be able to narrow down the source of an issue like this using the network path analysis feature. Let me quickly show you, because we're running short on time. Let me quickly show you how you can create a network path profile. Just choose the create new path option here. You can execute a network path. So basically, the network path analysis can be monitored from your Op Manager Plus server to any destination device, or this was how it used to be, but now we can also execute network path analysis monitoring from any source to any destination. So if you choose the remote machine option here, you'll be able to deploy an agent in any remote machine, and from that machine to any destination in the network, you can monitor the paths. If it's from a local machine, this is from your Op Manager Plus installed server. You'll have to provide the host name or IP address of the destination, the port, the path name, and so on. But if it's a remote machine, you can monitor it from any source to any destination here. So that's how network path analysis works. Let's move on to wireless monitoring. So we discussed in the last part how you can discover wireless LAN controllers and the access points associated with those wireless LAN controllers. You can monitor various things like signal strengths, traffic statistics, connected clients, etc. You can also detect rogue SSIDs trying to connect to your WLC. Again, under network, under devices, you can filter out devices based on type. And let's find our wireless LAN controller. There we go. So this is a wireless LAN controller, Aruba wireless LAN controller. So if you choose that, you'll be able to see all the details regarding this particular wireless environment. You'll be able to see the details of the wireless LAN controller primarily in its own snapshot page. You'll be able to see the interfaces associated with it, as well as the monitors associated with it here in its own snapshot page. You also have the option to see the SSIDs, the various network SSIDs that are used in this particular WLC. You'll be able to see all the access points that are associated with it. You can start and stop monitoring them from right here. See? Also, you'll be able to see rogue SSIDs that are trying to connect to your network and the clients. These are all the different clients. So this is how you can go from a WLC to all the different access points and SSIDs. You can drill down, right? You can also, if you want, see the access points yourself. Let me just quickly go back. Okay, there we go. I want to see just the access points. So the access points are listed here. See, these are we only monitor 5 access points now. If you want, you can go and monitor more. So for inside the access point snapshot page, you'll be able to see details about the access point itself, the clients, the SSIDs, and the monitors, associated monitors. So that's how wireless monitoring works in Op Manager Plus. Let's move on. We have covered all the network monitoring features. Now we're going to talk about virtualization monitoring features in Op Manager Plus. So Op Manager Plus monitors a variety of performance monitors for virtualization devices. It monitors host-specific data like CPU, also virtual machine-specific data for virtual machines like CPU ready, memory ballooning, traffic, disk, data store, free space, etc. It monitors a variety of vendors, 4 vendors basically: VMware, Hyper-V, Nutanix, and Zen. It can also monitor virtual specific actions like VMware events. It can power and on or off VMs. It can get VM utilization reports, VM dashboards, VM topology maps, etc. So all the virtual devices in your monitor installation can be found under servers, under virtualization. Choose that, and you'll see all the virtual devices in your that you're monitoring, right? So you can basically group them based on the virtual type or based on the hierarchy. Based on hierarchy, you'll get the topmost devices. You'll get the Hyper-V domain controller, the Hyper-V host. You can see it based on Nutanix, VMware, and Sun. These are how it's grouped based on hierarchy. If you can also group it based on the virtual type, where you'll see them as their host and VM roles. So let me just choose a random VM server here. This is let's see. This particular device is a server, and there's like all the information you available. So it's a Sun server. You can find the CPU, disk, memory, and all the details about the Sun server. You can find monitors here under the monitors tab, what all are all being monitored for this particular Sun server. So you can see vCPUs, full run, CPU utilization, partial contention, full contention, memory utilization, network usage, and so on. And you can find all sorts of monitors right here. And if you want, you can also see the graphs that are monitored. So graphs are something, this is available for all devices, all performance monitors that you monitor. These are graphs. I'll explain graphs later in the third part of the free training series in detail. So let's go back. So yeah, here you'll be able to see all your virtual servers and environments right here. Let me choose quickly. Let me choose a VMware vCenter server. So in the vCenter, I'm able to see all the hosts that I'm the virtual server, the virtual host that I have within this associated with this vCenter, the virtual machines that are associated with these virtual hosts, as well as the data stores. So all the data will be available, and you can drill down from the top to the bottom as required. So this is how virtual monitoring works in Op Manager Plus. And now we'll talk about something called VMware events. So VMware events helps you monitor VMware inventory changes. So it monitors things like vMotion, host connections, VM connections, whether VMs are powered on or off, orphan VMs, etc. So you can find VMware events under settings. Under monitoring settings, you have VMware events right here. Choose that, and you'll be able to see the various VMware events that are, these are also like templates. So what severity? So if this particular event occurs, what severity should it be alerted with? That you can edit right here. This is where you can edit the VMware events. You can associate them, like I mentioned, from here, or you can add new VMware events right here. So that is VMware events monitoring. With that, we have also covered the virtualization section of the free training series. Now we'll move on to IT infrastructure monitoring. In that, we have first storage monitoring. So storage monitoring, Op Manager Plus supports basically RAID management, tape library management, storage capacity forecasting, fabric switch management, and service management. So in storage, basically Op Manager Plus supports RAIDs, tape libraries, and FC switches. These are the three basic types of devices that storage monitoring is supported for. So based on the type of device, you'll be able to filter out the devices. You can go inside the device snapshot page, and you can see the monitors that are available for the particular storage device. You can associate them from here. From actions, you can add more storage monitors, so on. You can also see details like the disks that are used in this particular RAID device, the logical unit numbers, storage info, which includes the hardware information about this device, and so on. And let's see. You can also, if you want, forecast the performance of the storage usage under. So this is something that will be covered later in the third part of the free training series, but I'm just introducing it. So under reports, you have something called as for advanced reports. Forecast reports. You choose forecast reports, you'll be able to forecast the disk usage. So this is another storage monitoring feature in Op Manager Plus, where you'll be able to forecast using AI and ML, how soon your storage resources will be utilized. So that's one option available here. So let's see. You can monitor RAID arrays, SAN switches, tape libraries. These are all the vendors that are supported for storage monitoring listed here. You also have a dedicated set of storage reports. We are in report section now. I'll just show you where it is. So yeah, storage reports. So you'll have a dedicated list of storage reports right here. So these are the different storage monitoring features in Op Manager Plus. Then we have hardware monitoring. So Op Manager Plus monitors. So I've been talking about hardware monitoring since the beginning, since the server monitoring page itself. I've been talking about this. Op Manager Plus can monitor hardware monitors for devices, can monitor the hardware metrics for devices that support it. So this includes certain server devices, routers, and so on. You can find hardware monitors inside the device snapshot page itself. Hardware monitors are classified as part of the performance monitor itself of a device. So let's go to the router device, group by type. I'm going to group it by category. I'm going to choose routers, choose the router, go to hardware tab. This is taking a bit of time. Let me show you this particular setup. Plus, choose your router, hardware tab, and you will be able to see the monitored hardware metrics for this particular device. So it all depends on whether the device supports hardware monitoring. This particular device does, so you can monitor all these details. So for the devices that supports hardware monitoring, there will be a hardware tab right here, and you can enable it and disable it right here. You can suppress, disable your hardware monitors from the snapshot page itself. So that's how hardware monitoring works in Op Manager Plus. Now let me talk about passive monitoring. So passive monitoring is another feature in Op Manager. So all the monitoring mechanisms we discovered so far, all the monitoring mechanisms that we discovered so far involved Op Manager Plus reaching out to the device and polling it, right? Based on various, if for availability, it was ICMP, SNMP, and TCP. For various performance monitors, it was various network protocols like SNMP, WMI, CLI, and so on. So passive monitoring is another means of monitoring where you can use your Op Manager Plus installation as a syslog and trap receiver server. You can configure ports to receive syslogs and traps. Then you can set up rules to get alerted for specific syslogs and traps. So how does this work? So why is this important, by the way? So passive monitoring is important because it will help you get alerted immediately. So whenever an event occurs, whenever your device sends a syslog or trap, it could be important. If it's like a traditional monitoring mechanism where you poll the device, there will be a monitoring interval, right? It could be as small as 5 minutes or 1 minute, but even so, there's a monitoring interval. So only when the polling occurs, you'll be alerted. But for passive monitoring, you'll get immediately alerted because whenever the device sends a syslog or trap, if it satisfies the rule that you set up, it'll get immediately alerted. So you can find that under settings, under monitoring settings, you have two different, you have syslog rules and SNMP trap processes. Syslog rules are used to gather syslogs from your network devices, and then if they satisfy a certain rule that you set up, it will get monitored. So these are existing rules, syslog rule templates. Choose failed logins. So this is a syslog rule for failed logins. And see, if the syslog has this text failed login, it will alert with a critical severity, and it will have the same message that the syslog has been sending it. So if you want to create a syslog rule, just click on add, and you'll be able to configure all the details right here and create a syslog rule template. Similarly, you also have trap processes, which is for receiving traps and alerting if the trap follows a particular, satisfies a particular criteria. So yeah, click on add, and you'll be able to add a trap rule. And you can change the trap, let's see, trap viewer. If you enable this, trap processing will be enabled for this Op Manager Plus setup. Trap settings, you'll be able to change the port of the, so Op Manager Plus uses a port to receive the traps. You can change it here. Similarly, for syslogs, you can change it in the syslog rules, syslog port option. You'll be able to configure the syslog port. So these are the passive monitoring mechanisms in Op Manager Plus. And we reached the last part of the free training series, where we'll talk about Cisco Meraki, Cisco ACI, and IPMM monitoring features in Op Manager Plus. I'll just show this to you in the product itself, as we're running a bit short on time. So under settings, I already told you how we can add Meraki in the last part here. Now, if you want to find your Meraki devices, they'll be listed under, let's see, they'll be listed under network. Go to network, and under, if you group them by category, you'll be able to see Meraki controller. Choose Meraki controller, and you'll find the Meraki controller that you discovered here. Choose that, and you'll see all the details about the Meraki environment, like the devices. This includes Meraki security, Meraki switch, Meraki radios, Meraki vision, Meraki cellular gateway. You'll be able to see the network information. You'll be able to find the rogue APs, the clients, and so on. So all the details regarding a Meraki environment can be seen in the snapshot page of the Meraki controller itself. And if you want, you can go inside a device as well. If you're monitoring, you can start and stop monitoring your Meraki devices from this snapshot page itself. And when you click on that, you'll be taken inside a snapshot page of the Meraki. For in this case, it's a Meraki Firewall MX. So yeah, you'll be able to see all the details and set up your monitors from here itself. So that's how that works. Let me just now let's talk about Cisco ACI. So Cisco ACI, you can find it in your inventory itself. Let me see. I'm gonna filter this based on type. Actually, let me filter this based on category itself. And SDN, Cisco ACI comes under the SDN category. Here we have a Cisco ACI device. So it'll show you the details like topology maps, the fabrics, the tenants, the endpoint groups, and everything in this snapshot page itself, as well as the recent 10 faults that occurred in this particular ACI device, and so on. Port view, this is a sample data actually, and monitors. You can associate monitors from here itself. So this is how Cisco ACI monitoring works. And finally, we have IPMI. Again, IPMI you can find once you add your IPMI, you can find it in the category filter itself. Choose IPMI, and you'll be able to find your IPMI devices here. You get all the information about a device right here. You get interfaces, taking a bit of time to load, and hardware data. So yeah, everything can be found in the snapshot page itself. So Op Manager Plus is globally recognized and decorated by a trusted and popular review platforms. These are some of the recent recognitions we have received in network monitoring, IT infrastructure monitoring, and application monitoring market segments. Now, we are proud to announce that we have been recognized by Gartner in its 2024 Voice of the Customer for Observability Platforms report. Once again, we thank you for attending a free training series. See you on the next part. Bye.